It's really fun just watching the lower half of your face only.
Maybe it's aimed down too far.
Ah, there you go.
And
Of
Baines
course.
has just hiding from the world.
Nobody needs to see. You mustn't see.
They mustn't. The Phantom of the Quackcast is here inside a computer.
Pay no attention. What?
No, he has just sworn into a secret society and he's not allowed to show his face anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's all creepy devil worshipping sex parties going on at Baines's place at the moment.
Yeah.
In silence.
Creepy sex parties. I like it.
Exactly.
Hello and welcome to the Drunked Out Quackcast. This is Quackcast 329. I'm Ozone Ocean, and with me is Tance Serene. Hello, Tance.
Hello.
And Mr. Baines. Hello, Baines.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Jungian characters, the young ones, I'm calling it. The young ones. So
Young blood.
Yeah, young blood. Young love. Tance, tell us, how did you come up? Well, we know how you came up with the Jung kind of stuff because you did. This is the 5th part of your gigantic Jungian odyssey, isn't it? It was the end of it.
I'm very glad it's finished. When I began, I was feeling very clever in that I wouldn't have to think up new topics for the newscast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You crafty
I
person.
don't know exactly what to write, but I didn't actually make the battery of news posts from the get-go. And sometimes Jung and getting to be very textbook-like without being too boring isn't, the easiest thing to do. So
Yeah.
it sort of came back to bite me a little towards the end.
You were trapped in your series.
I had a very similar thing trying to do multi-part. The same thing, the same upside, and then the same realization toward the end that, like, oh man, this is a lot to try to condense, figure out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Still, though,
go on.
Jung is was a psychologist that I of course respect because he definitely laid down a lot of groundwork, but I cannot accept in a scientific setup, let's say. He belongs to a school that I don't find very scientific, but I do find extremely artistic. So I like him from an artistic approach more.
Okay. Yeah.
And the reason I'm saying this is that Jungian psychology in general is basically belonging to the analytic schools of psychology, which that means Freud, Jung, as I said. I'm extremely tired right now, and so my brain isn't cooperating. But generally people that do psychoanalysis, people that ask you about your childhood and then sit behind you and have the very stereotypical bed originally. This sort of people. And then just to get out of the way why I don't find them very scientific is that because their sessions and their methods cannot really be measured, quantified, and replicated. So whatever they say they have done in terms of sessions and therapy, and sit and do it again. Because it's very projective and very it's very much more of an art than science. So,
Okay.
I as a psychologist, I don't really ascribe to what he has said.
Right.
Mostly.
But it's still useful for interpreting characters. And as you say, it's an art more than an analytical thing. But before we get into more of that,
that's a good point.
We have to tackle our regular things, our feature and our featured music. So our featured comic this week was Forest Reckoning. Forest Reckoning. And Gene Joke gave us this one. So Forest Reckoning. And take it away, Ozone Ocean, reading Gene Joke.
Well, today, Ozone Ocean reads the work of Gene Joke.
Hello, this is Ozone Ocean, and this week the feature was by Gene Joke, and it was Forest Reckoning. Rover is a curious dog who is helped by Morza, a clever and manipulative cat, to enter the Forbidden City. Bears act as guards to the Forbidden City, yet one, Arctos, is aiding Morza for reasons not yet revealed. Charming characters, witty dialogue, and intriguing setup give this comic a solid start. What most people will initially notice is the 3D art. The art is done in Google SketchUp and made from scratch. It has a retro low-definition feel and a distinct cartoony charm. This comic is, of course, called Forest Reckoning. It's rated E, and it's by DPat57. DPat57. And DPat describes it himself as a curious dog and an untrustworthy cat avoid bears and other dangers as they struggle to discover the secrets of the Forbidden City in a post-apocalyptic world. Interesting. I'm so glad we have Gene Joke on to review these comics because I'm not so great with 3D work myself, so I really wouldn't give this comic the attention it deserves. So thank goodness we have Gene Joke on to review these sorts of comics. Lovely work by DPat57, rated E for everyone. Read it. And that was the featured comic. Gene Joke had picked that one out, and I had read it. Okay, so next up we have the music by Gun Wallace. And Gun Wallace this week has given us a theme to The Dark Crusader. This is a nice short theme because the comic's a 3-panel comic, basically. A 3-panel sort of comedic comic about a superhero. And going by that theme, Gun Wallace has given us a very short kind of introductory tune to this music. And I would describe it as the sun rises on a vast metropolis, slowly sliding up the gleaming skyscraper, and standing heroically upon the very top, his cape blowing in the wind, is the Dark Crusader. Take it away, Gun Wallace. That was the music by Gun Wallace, The Dark Crusader. Sort of like Batman, but not. Okay, so...
kind of like the Dark Crystal, but not.
Yes, the Dark Crystal.
References are getting so old, nobody even knows.
Yeah, you Skexy. So we've got the Jungian archetypes for characters. Character archetypes? Character types. That Jung came up with, and they're all sorts of different characters. I love them. And we characterized ourselves as these characters, didn't we? Which was good. I can't... Oh, it's in the comments there. What's that?
Do we have a link to this? Because I'm a bit lost.
Ah ha ha ha.
I have it. I'll send it.
Okay.
Unless you have it too.
Yeah.
Either. Here we go.
We can both post
Boom.
it.
Boom.
Look at that, Tance.
You beat me.
Thanks.
You've been double posted. Oh, goodness
Is
me.
mother of learning.
Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the Jungle. You've been double posted.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to write that in the quote cast.
Just that.
Just been racking my brains trying to think of Jung puns.
All right. There I am.
Awesome.
Fine.
Right, so we have the Jungian character archetypes. So what are they in terms of characters, Tance?
Well, they are tropes. They are the first tropes ever actually codified as this, in my opinion at least.
Okay.
In this level of detail.
Yeah.
Because Jung was very interested in archetypes, all sorts of archetypes, and he kept coming back to them. So you get a lot of different labels to the same basic tropes, or a lot of sub-tropes, in a sense, sub-archetypes of the same thing, which is hell for students, but it's very good for artists. So the idea basically of an archetype is that you have an aspect of personality or a purpose, quote unquote, to a character that reoccurs across civilizations, across time, and across cultures around the globe. And the idea is that you will find these characters and people will relate to them and will understand them, and there will be communication despite all other differences when it comes down to this very visceral common ground, so to speak.
Yeah, so the characters are the same across cultures. They have common ground with the matching types, don't they? Just trying to simplify it. Probably making it just as complicated.
So there have been people that treat them more supernaturally than they should.
Yes.
Okay, and there are. I mean, the tarot thing, one could argue that has been whittled down and fine-tuned according to these tropes, these archetypes, at least to a point. And there is a lot of mysticism and even very much of New Age stuff that has nothing to do with pure Jung. And let's not get into that.
Collective unconscious, all that kind of stuff. It gets taken too far into the mystical.
They are supposed to work a little bit like a palette, like a swatch.
A palette,
so yes. You pronounce things better than me because you're a native speaker.
So you paint with these character archetypes in order to create your character out of these basic forms.
Exactly, and that's really the purpose of keeping them in mind, because it can be very easy to get inspiration if you have it all mapped out before you, especially keeping in mind whatever your plot is and what you want to do. Then you will be more in a position to readily create a character that fits your purpose, what you want to do. In a which might sound that the characters serve the plot, but it's more of a two-way street. The plot will serve the characters, and the characters will also serve the plot. And if you know what you're working with, it can be a little bit less chaotic in design, in a sense.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Good point. Good point. Because you already know the parameters, so you're not going to get blindsided or confused and by unseen things. So you already know the limits of what the character should be able to do.
Exactly. Like for example, if you have the main characteristic of your character's personality being that he's the innocent, which is inexperienced, pure and naive, then you will not have him be very savvy to, for example, another character that is very, very street smart oriented, and he likes to trick people, or he is more of a conniving, indirect sort of interaction guy.
Sneaky character, basically.
Exactly. And for the biggest example of this that comes to mind right now is Oliver Twist. If you have seen or read the work,
classic Dickens.
You have Oliver is the innocent throughout. I would say throughout the whole work. The Artful Dodger is the trickster, or you could say a lot of other things as well. But he is able to manipulate Oliver because Oliver is completely inexperienced and very open and trusting and everything. And he's the new kid on the block, literally, and knows nothing, like Jon Snow, even more than Jon Snow. So there's that.
Yeah.
The idea is to just keep in mind how your character is expected to react, and you can also see if you like it. If you don't like it, then you redesign the character, or you give him or her experiences that will get him or her to grow out of this. In a sense.
So it's not only a good way of creating a character, but it's a good way of analysing characters in forms like you've said, the innocent Oliver Twist, Pinocchio, same kind of character. So it can be a good way of using it for criticism, or trying to examine what works and what doesn't in other things to better hone your own kind of what you're doing yourself and understand those characteristics better and how they work. Look at Pinocchio and see how it handles it. So you've got many of these different types here. Let's see. It's about almost like 7 or 10 or something. I can't count.
I think like, for example, I think originally Jung had 9, then they became 12, then they became something like 20 or 30. Or
oh, I mean, my God,
it
really?
It never stops. Yeah.
It's the character rainbow.
If we go even further to people that have advanced this, you get crazy things in detail and everything. It's, in my opinion, and this is personal opinion, don't take it as fact. I do think that it then after a point it becomes not an archetype, because the archetype is supposed to be a very vast mold.
Yes, we become more a point on a spectrum, isn't it, really? It's just
yes, exactly.
No longer anything in particular. Go on. Yeah. Sorry.
These just these 12 ones, I think they are a good number.
Yeah.
Like the 12 apostles.
It's 12. 12 is a good natural kind of number to top it off at. So we've got like the jester, and you say that crops up in things like tarot cards and all that kind of stuff. Sage, magician, the ruler, the lover, the rebel, the lover, the explorer, the caregiver, a motherly character, the hero, very popular, the orphan, bit of a black sheep character, that one, and the innocent. All these standard archetypes, and you can spot them throughout all creative works, basically. That's what you're saying, isn't it? All creative works will have variations of these, or characters that incorporate maybe a
Yeah.
couple of those traits?
Or maybe more. For
Yeah.
example, you could have a character that encompasses, for example, the hero, the explorer, and the rebel, all wrapped up in one.
And we add
That
the
is
orphan
very,
in there to give him a bit of
yeah,
like a black sheepness or anti-hero, rebel as
exactly.
well. Yeah. I like that.
The orphan is actually very, very popular because it often jumpstarts a journey, a hero's journey in a sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could get a caregiver that is also the innocent,
Yeah.
or you could have a caregiver that is also the lover, not necessarily of another character, but for example, loving a craft like medicine, or
Okay.
loving being a caregiver, or loving seeing happiness,
Yeah.
being very altruistic and idealistic and stuff, and being very passionate to the point of being extreme because of this devotion. Because the lover has the idea of the lover is that the character is extreme in the devotion to whatever it is that they are devoted to.
Yeah, because that's their overriding
Like
character trait,
that.
of course.
For example, in Gone with the Wind, Scarlett is a lover in the sense that she's in love with Tara, her vast
Her estate.
estate, yeah, that thing. So she would be a lover, but this is not lovable at all, and she doesn't know how to love a person. So there you have it.
Yes. And yeah, and the characters can incorporate all sorts of seemingly, traits that would be seemingly wouldn't fit together, but they do. You can have a hero caregiver as well. Say someone like Ripley from Aliens, the second Alien movie.
Yes, definitely.
So
Definitely.
they can mix those things up, and they work really, really well. I was also thinking of the classic Commedia dell'arte characters, which are a bit older than the archetypes, but they sort of fit with the same ones. And I'm sort of thinking that maybe Jung probably used those as a bit of a model because they're being so classic in European literature and performance and folklore.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got
For sure, especially in a work like Commedia dell'arte. I'm afraid to pronounce these things. He would probably, even assuming that they did that back then, he would cite it as proof of his theories, veracity and
because it's applied and very visibly used. These in that the clown troupe, Commedia dell'arte, for people who don't know. So this is a classic clown troupe that you have these archetypal characters. They've been used for hundreds of years, from medieval times or Renaissance times on. But you have them in various plays, but these characters are always specific types. So you have a hero, you have a jester, you have a scoundrel, a sad, tragic figure, a maiden in distress sort of thing. And they all play these characters, but they perform different kind of stories based around these standard character types. So it is very much based on the whole, the Jungian archetypes as well. So, yeah, it's a real form of application, and you'll see it in the classic Harlequin character. That everybody knows the Batman Harley Quinn. Of course, she's based on the classic Harlequin.
Basically, she would be an innamorati from Commedia dell'arte, because she is a hopeless lover to Joker, because it's an abusive relationship and she keeps getting killed or almost killed him. So that's qualifying, even from that particular play, or not play, work of art.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
She's changed a bit from the Harlequin in Commedia dell'arte, but yeah, she's still forms a role. Yeah, it's interesting. What about you guys? What character archetypes would you say characterize your main characters? Chance. Say Basil. Basil is sort of a tragic hero kind of character, isn't he? But he's a bit of an authority figure as well. So
I think Basil would be definitely having elements of the hero in the sense that he needs to keep proving himself. It's a big thing with him, I think, pattern. And then he is also the rebel because he will not conform to injustice. And he is also a little bit of the sage because he has a lot of answers and a lot of advice to give. And, he's worthy if you let him a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking
I would say those are his three main elements.
I was thinking about that because he is at the base before he was a rebel or anything like that. He is sort of a sage, but an authority figure, someone who is a conservative sort of character, and it's hard to know where that fits within these traits, that sort of judge kind of character that he is at his core.
Also, I would say that he has elements of a caretaker because he feels that he has to protect the kids and that he's responsible for them.
Yeah.
And things like that. What he is definitely not, in my opinion, is that he's not the ruler in any way, and he's not interested in having power and delegating it, at least not as an end. So he's not that.
So what about Fotis? Fotis, I would say, is a bit of a jester.
Definitely.
That's a big part of his character.
He would also be a little bit of the explorer because he is a bit of a fidgety. I mean, if he can flee when he sees threat, he will. But he's also extremely curious, and he wants to invent. I mean, if he manages to survive, his talent is that he's an inventor. He would be an engineer if he would survive his current situation. He would be basically someone that wants to invent stuff in general. So I would say that for him, Jester and the explorer.
Probably a bit of a rebel too, maybe.
Not right now, but later on, if he survives, at least until he meets his end, he would be the rebel in the end, but not right now. With the things that are going to happen, though, he will have to be, in a sense. So, not yet, but it's coming, the rebel.
What about you, Baines? Oscar is a bit of an innocent, I would say, one of his traits.
Yeah, I would say definitely innocent, definitely a little bit of caregiver and a lot of the jester in him.
A lot of the jester? A bit of the jester?
In a way, maybe a bit, maybe not a lot.
Because he's more an innocent sort of fellow. That his humor is based around what the other characters do, isn't it?
I guess so. Yeah.
It's hard to categorize your characters, isn't it?
It's tough. I mean, I could more easily categorize some of the other characters. TK, I would put him in the rebel/magician territory. I mean, he seems to have sort of inroads everywhere, and he can kind of make things happen. You know, he knows stuff about stuff, if you will. The rebel / the explorer, put him in that kind of that territory.
Penelope's a bit a caregiver, obviously.
Caregiver, yes. I think so.
Bit of an innocent as well.
Wacky. Yes, definitely innocent. Caregiver, innocent. She's kind of class clownish too. I would put like half the characters would have definitely some jester to them.
They've all got a bit of that.
Yeah. Abigail maybe headed towards the ruler, or wants to be.
Yeah. As all ladies in smart looking ladies in glasses are.
They all tend to be. It's just such a cliche.
But a wonderful cliche for that. What about Pinky?
Yeah, Pinky.
Oh, it's really hard to do your own character. It is really hard. At the moment, she's being a bit of a ruler because she's in charge of this big project. So she's a ruler at the moment. She got there. Generally, I would think that she is a bit more rebel than anything else. I think so, yeah. She has those tendencies because she really doesn't like what she's doing and she sort of wants to fight against it. So she's a bit of a rebel more than anything else. Not really a caregiver sort of character. Oh, and a hero as well. Yeah, so there's those two things. Not an orphan, not an innocent. Sort of a hero and a rebel sort of fighting in her. She has those tendencies. Starts off as being sort of a hero and turning into more of a rebel as she sort of has this internal conflict about an ambiguity. Well, she's not really sure about the system she's serving, and she's sort of gradually having second thoughts. Whereas her nemesis, the Cece character, Cece, who you'd normally see as a rebel, is she's more of a conformist sort of character. So
I would say Cece is a lover a little bit. Because because she does love her purpose. She does love serving her country. Yeah, she's very devoted, and it's like my country above all others. If we quote TV tropes, so
that's a good
she
point.
Even has the heart prove it at the court.
She wears her heart on her crotch. That's very well said, actually. Yeah, love it. I did not think of it in those terms. Yeah, you really have to think of these categories as wider than just the face value, just the title, don't you? You really have.
Yeah, that's true. Like you read The Lover, and it has certain connotations that might not be what you think, like not a relationship thing or a loving kind of thing necessarily.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's complete.
Could be like the company man character in a lot of stories. Could be.
Yeah.
Yes.
The lover.
Or the Javert in Greek it's
Les Miserables. Les Miserables.
Yeah. He would
the
be,
Miserables.
Yes. He would be a lover, although he's a hateful person. But he is so much in love with justice and applying the law and enforcing the law, and this is his ultimate purpose. And when that fails him, he commits suicide. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So, so I would say that he is a textbook lover archetype.
What about Orestes? So I was thinking of antagonists. So Orestes is your antagonist for Basil very much. So he's the other side of the coin there. Lover of his purpose, maybe?
I'm not sure, to be honest, because he does have motivations that clash with each other in lots of senses. Like, for example, he knows that Basil has capacities and skills, and he is a resource, but he is willing to eliminate that resource to get to his purpose, which has nothing to do with the professed purpose, that is liberating Greece. So I'm not sure, actually.
He's more of a ruler, I would say.
Yes, definitely he's a ruler, and he loves being the ruler. He likes it. But I don't think that's the only thing. I think that he also is a little bit of the magician, because he's the one. So he's the one that has all the network and the resources, and he is the leader of one of the partisan groups, and that's no little thing. And yeah, I think those. I'm trying to think a little bit, because he also is a bit of the hero, because he also wants to prevail over whatever obstacles he has. He doesn't like being thwarted in anything. So that is like a red flag to him that he needs to see to him. So he doesn't, and he's very much like Basil in that sense, in that when they see the obstacle, they have a knee-jerk reaction to go at it even more and try to overcome it even more.
Yes.
Whatever that is.
Yes.
So I would say that he's also a hero a little bit.
Right.
So basically.
That's interesting. So I was thinking about this. This helps us explain these character archetypes a bit better. But people might not all know our particular work. So perhaps we should analyze something that's popular, like, I don't know, some popular comic.
Pick one.
Well, I don't know many myself, but I don't know, the whole X-Men, Batman, all that kind of stuff. Baines, you're the comic guy. Tell us a good comic to analyze. Could be even Archie. Tell us.
Oh, Archie? Let's see.
Oh my God, I don't read Archie. I cannot analyze that.
Oh, okay.
All right. It could be.
Well, Superman. I mean, definitely we'd call him the hero.
Classic
That's
hero.
What drives him. He is an orphan in a sense, but he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah, exactly. Caregiver.
Oh, a caregiver as well.
His priority.
Is he a lover? No, he doesn't really love. Is what he does.
He might love, but I wouldn't put him as like that as his.
Well, he's for the American way, truth.
Right. Yeah.
And the American way.
Truth, justice, and the American way.
Yes, there you go. That's the one. But he could also be an orphan, because he wants to belong.
Yes.
In the human world.
Yes,
and
he's a part, isn't he? He's not really a human. He's an alien from Krypton.
Yeah. And he wants to be accepted by human society. So, and
that's
you could
maybe
also
the classic superhero paradigm, is the sort of hero, orphan, caregiver, like something in there.
Maybe a little bit for Superman, maybe a little bit of the innocent, at least in the beginning, when he's naive and pure, and he doesn't know the ropes. And then Lois Lane snags him because he's that inexperienced. And
right.
he cannot outgrow her no matter what.
Right.
That's a good point.
How about Batman? His buddy Batman. There.
Well, he's an orphan.
I've never really heard of the character. I just read the name.
He's a literal orphan, as well as being a bit of because he's always sort of thinking, I'm outside of everything. Oh God, I've got darkness. My parents died. Boo hoo hoo.
Yeah,
it's such a tragedy. I just live in darkness. So yeah, so he's got that. He's obviously a hero as well. He's
yes.
That devotion thing, like rather than the caregiver, I would put him as the lover archetype, being devoted to his cause. kind of driven.
Yes.
He's more
and the
driven
magician.
than Superman.
You know,
the
this
magician.
devotion to justice. The magician, yeah.
Okay. His superpower is money, so definitely the magician.
Yeah.
Yes, very true. Because he's the one who he doesn't defeat things just by strength. He sort of has he plans and things like that. So he's a plotter and planner with the Bat computer in the Bat Cave, of course. They go down there. I'm thinking of the classic
That's
Adam West.
Right, old chum. Yeah, R.I.P. Farewell.
He could also be, although that I think probably is more of an Iron Man character, like the Explorer, because he is an inventor and he does. He, of course, he goes head on in confrontations, and he will not flee. But he is an inventor, so he probably has some trace amounts of that.
Yes. The rebel, the explorer, that would be Iron Man's kind of territory, and the hero, too.
What about the Joker, who is the Batman antagonist? Obviously, the Jester is in there. That's by design.
Yes, of course.
He's the Jester. But what else does he have? He's a rebel as well.
He is motivated by things that are funny. He won't kill someone if it's not funny. So definitely the Jester. What else?
He's a rebel, of course, because he's a real dick.
Well, yeah, because he's a nihilist that wants to destroy the system. So yes, of course. And
the extreme dark side of these categories, obviously, the rebel.
Yeah, the rebel. Is he an orphan?
I would say that you could make a bid for him being the orphan, because he does want to find some way that he's relevant to the world and to society, even if his relevance is to offset how
the hero
non-logical society is, because that's what he says, isn't it? That he wants to show Batman that everything is crazy and nothing happens for a reason, like everything that happens randomly.
Chaos. Yeah.
He attempts to be an agent of chaos. Yes.
Exactly. So he does want to find his purpose, quote unquote, which his purpose is to show that there is no purpose, in a sense.
He's a bit of a ruler as well, because he has his minions. And, well, that's a literal kind of version of that, but he is a bit of that, and he's often
certainly a magician also. Like he seems to be able to do extraordinary things by virtue of his insanity or his brilliance.
And he comes up with resources in general.
Yes,
but he is also the ruler not only because he has minions, but because he also wants to rule over Batman, order him around, make him do things, or do the same thing with the Bat family, whatever that is. So
Batgirl, Robin, all that stuff. But he is also the nexus and the focus for other villains as well, and he is often ascendant above them whenever they gather in whatever Batman story, from the Adam West Batman to the movies and anything else. He tends to be the king of that group. So he's just the natural, ruler.
I don't know. I mean, that would be like a Doctor Doom or, that kind of character would be more like a ruler. I mean, there might be shades of that, but really,
I don't mean he literally rules. I mean, the plots focus around him. The other villains are sort of secondary to the Joker's role. That's what I mean. He's not a literal in charge of all the other villains like Dr. Doom. Would you agree?
I would, but I don't know if that makes him the ruler in the sort of context we're talking about. He does. He rules. He's awesome.
And there you see why all of these are projective stuff. I mean, imagine now having to analyze an actual person based on these things.
Exactly. I mean, he is. I would agree with you, Oz, that he is a puppet master kind of character. Actually, yeah. Now that I think about it, yeah, I think you're right.
Okay.
He has that kind of thing going on there. Sorry to be so argumentative. Get passionate about the Joker.
You should be. It makes a better Quackcast. Don't apologize. Just keep it up. It's great.
You're right. I'm sorry.
He's so Canadian.
We should keep our audience awake. Like,
what's that?
So
yes, keep them awake.
Awake. So wake up, everyone.
Wake up.
Wake up, sheeple.
Wake up, sheeple. Oh God, yes. Give us your best Alex Jones impression. Start screaming. Oh God! So
you haven't never noticed that the Joker smells like sulfur? Wake up!
He's the devil, people. He's the devil. He's gonna take your souls and eat them.
That's all I know about Alex Jones. But,
he's turning your kids gay. Don't you understand this? Wake up, sheeple.
Wouldn't that be Hawkeye? He's the one in the pink jumpsuit that should handle everyone.
Yes.
All right, so that's Marvel, isn't it? Hawkeye, Marvel. So we're crossing.
Hawkeye's in the Avengers.
DC
like we talked a little Iron Man, a little bit of Hawkeye.
Yeah, I think that's Marvel.
Hawkeye is Marvel, yes.
So what about Captain America? He's
certainly the orphan, the innocent.
He's Superman in a flag.
Yeah, definitely more the innocent than Superman is. He's even more the fish out of water. I mean, unless we're talking Superboy or flashbacks or something. Superman is kind of the character as we generally know him. Is not really a fish out of water per se.
Yeah,
Captain America is.
The archetypal Captain America is very much a lover of his country, far more than Superman is. Much more a lover. Far more innocent.
If we consider Civil War, he is definitely the rebel because although he loves or perhaps because he loves his country, he will not submit to terrible constrictions of human rights and basic liberties and stuff like that.
Good point.
So you would have him also be the rebel. And of course, in the beginning, all superheroes, I guess, start off as the innocents, and then they are introduced to the world of the super people.
Right.
I think he retains that, though. That at least his classic base will always be the innocent, because he is that wide-eyed kind of idealistic character, and I think that fits with being the innocent. Even though he is in charge of different characters, literally, I don't see him as a ruler at all.
Yeah, no. I think he's more like being the ruler for him, or managing, having authority, I think is not ever his purpose.
Yeah.
He might, by circumstance, or because he's a very charismatic character apparently, be shoved into the leading role. But I don't think that is his purpose ever, or he thinks that way. I definitely think that he's the rebel, like in his core incarnation as well, because he fights injustice in everything, and he did that even before he got jacked up in whatever chemicals they dunked him, and he still tried to fight against whatever he felt was wrong, even though he knew that he would be destroyed. I would say that.
Is he a hero as well as a rebel? I mean, I would think that he would be.
Yeah, I think so, because he wants to overcome all the obstacles. he wants to join the army even though he doesn't make the cut in any way initially, and then he overcomes all other obstacles.
Yeah.
He goes against the obstacles again. So,
he's a good model. I was thinking of a character that fits the sage, the magician, and the ruler. That would be
Professor X.
Yeah, exactly. That's who I was thinking.
Professor X. Yeah.
Yes. And so he fits those characters. Definitely not innocent, anything. He's not really a lover of the... No. There's too much mental gymnastics to make it work. Go on.
Maybe caregiver as well.
Caregiver, yes. Caregiver. Very much so. And say Magneto, who is his opposite. Magician, definitely. Ruler as well. Wouldn't say he's a sage at all.
I would say he's a rebel, though, because
rebel.
Despite being violent, still his motivations are going against what he feels is wrong.
Yeah.
The clash between mutants and humans and everything.
And definitely the orphan with that mutant thing, they being outcast. The orphan. Shades of that.
Oh, I love doing this.
This is fun, actually. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it really is super fun because we're super friends. What about Wonder Woman? What's that?
Now I have a tough one for you. How would you characterize? How would you categorize Mickey Mouse?
The innocent to begin with, because he's always finding himself in his problems, and he has to sort of work with what he finds himself in. So I don't know if he's a jester. He's a little bit of a jester. A little bit of an innocent.
I don't think that he's motivated by wanting to create enjoyment, in the sense that he doesn't live to make people laugh as much, I think.
Well,
but
he's a bit of a just. Think about Magician's Apprentice. Is that what it's called, or something? The Magician something. When he Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's it. Then he's a bit of a jester.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what else he is in there. He's an innocent, and he's a bit of a hero too. A bit
and maybe a bit of an orphan, depending on the story, on the adventure that he's in.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if you could classify him as a rebel.
No.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
It depends. I remember when I was a kid, there was this series of Mickey Mouse as a detective, and it was very noir, which was weird for a Mickey Mouse.
It's odd for Mickey Mouse,
and he was very much the rebel there, and very dark, gritty red, which was hilarious, but for all the wrong reasons.
I would put Bugs, Bugs Bunny in that category. Rebel, magician,
jester.
Jester.
Yeah. Bugs.
Daffy
Duck. That's interesting. Daffy, he wants to be a ruler kind of character. He sees himself as that.
Yes,
he really does. But
I think that he would also be the explorer in the sense that he goes out of his way to flee, and he likes to. I mean, he resolves his problems if he can without direct confrontation, or he has others do the confrontation for him. If I remember right,
he would prefer to. So he tries to manipulate situations as well. So would he be a bit of a magician? I suppose then maybe he attempts to manipulate things in order to make things better for himself, but he can't do it. Now Bugs Bunny is more of a magician because he really does manipulate things very cleverly. What about what about Elmer Fudd, who's a hapless brute He wants to be a brute, but he's always overcome. But he is a bit of an innocent, even though he's like an evil character.
But he's naive, yes. And
Very
he
naive.
always falls for the traps, so definitely an innocent.
Yeah, he's an innocent.
Is he trying to overcome obstacles? Is he a hero in a sense? Even though he's the antagonist?
I would say more of a lover. He's devoted to hunting.
Yes.
Yeah.
The wabbits. Hunt the wabbit. Hunt the wabbit.
I think they are very simple in their conception of these characters. So
yeah, they are.
But they're very different from each other. That's why it's kind of
very,
neat.
very much so.
Yeah, which is a great way of understanding these concepts and how you can create great characters by using them and create great.
This is everything Carl Jung would have hoped for, that people would be. This is what we would be using stuff for.
Well, he would have hoped for his categorizations to be also applied to other things in reality. So that would
yes. That's what I was getting at. Like, this is probably not his highest aspiration. We'd be talking about animated ducks and pigs. Rather. Yeah. Nobody else is talking about this stuff in the world. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah.
It's good that he also coined and put forth more theories than this that are still being used. So he still has on that.
He still has a lot of relevance in the world of the art of psychoanalytics.
Yes, of course.
Rather than the science, as you say.
Exactly. That's exactly. Couldn't have said it better.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this has been a highly interesting discussion on the character archetypes of Jung and how they can apply to our characters. And I'm glad you left it to the end, because this is the easiest kind of thing to apply to not only our characters, but even ourselves and our roles in various things, which I love. So, yeah, brilliant idea for a news post and a Quackcast. Thank you, Chance, our resident Wonder Woman.
Thank you so much. But I can't speak Greek, so that's a common name.
Yes. Take that, Wonder Woman actor lady.
Yeah.
All right. This has been Quackcast number 329. I've been Ozone Ocean, and you guys have been fantastic.
Yes, we'll be talking about Pavlov next week. How he.
Oh yes, let's talk about drool and.
Yeah, we'll be talking about drool, dogs, and bells.
Bell ringing.
Yes.
We'll be ringing our bells constantly,
and the horrific dark side of Pavlov that not many talk about. We could also talk about that.
So there you go. Welcome to Psychoanalysis Month on the podcast.
Oh.
Psychoanalysis Month. Oh dear. We'll be examining Baines next week, and
careful.
All the dark, devilish issues.
We will have you talk about your childhood years and your relationship with your mother.
Yes.
Oh no, not Freudian. Oh god, we'll be going Freudian all over you, Baines. Okay. Stay tuned.
And whether you smoke cigars. No, because cigars are important.
What was that?
Cigars.
Oh, yes.
Whether you smoke cigars, yeah.
All right. Stay tuned for next week. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.